Welcome back to the tutorial series. Alright, so we're here still with our map. Okay, what we left off on, we were making the map obviously. Now let's get into some basic eventing. Okay, basic eventing. That's what we're going to do. First of all, let's see, our house needs windows actually, just realized. Sorry that I missed this in the last tutorial, but we forgot our house windows. That is kind of vital to the house. I'm sorry, I forgot that. Let's just do that. There. Good. Good. Okay. Now that we got that, back to eventing. Okay, so first of all, let me explain eventing a little bit. When you right click, you get this menu. If you double click, it automatically brings this up. Okay, now why did I show you the right click menu? You can do it manually, create new event, cut, copy, paste, delete events. But there's also these you'll need to know of: quick event creation and set starting position. Now this, let's say your player starts right here, which he's going to in this case, and then maybe he has a boat. You would also set the boat starting position right there, because the boat counts as like a player object somehow. But yeah. Actually, yeah, let's just leave the boat there. Alright. Let's do it there. Okay. Now that we got that, what is a quick event creation? Transfer door, treasure chest in. These are helpful, save you time. Let's start with the easiest one, the door, which we're going to need. Door. So first of all, select your door. Well, we're going to use this one, I guess. And then this. This is where it's going to send you. You choose. Now, even if you don't have a destination, just for mapping purposes, I always make my doors. If you want to go back later, what you would do, you can either double click on it, or what I always do to save time, which is really my own personal thing, kind of stupid I guess, but spacebar. Oh, I guess it's not working. I could have sworn spacebar is how you do it. Maybe it's in here. Yeah, spacebar in there. My bad. My bad. And to keep things organized, I'm going to name this door. Okay, if you ever want to change it, now that we got the door made, you can just go here, spacebar, double click, whatever, and you can reset the destination, all that information, okay? So we got a door. Now when we use the door, it'll automatically animate it and everything from that quick event. See, it's already got the animation set up for us. Very easy, very good. It already sets the event up. When we touch it, it opens. It's just really easy to use, and it's just like quick, good. Transfer event, that's if you're gonna like have a road leading off and you walk to the end of the road, you transfer. You choose location. You can also modify that, which direction you'll be facing. Quick event, treasure chest. Choose your chest. What's in it? Let's actually make a treasure chest. We're gonna put it right here. Event creation, treasure chest. It's gonna be a forest chest. It's gonna contain 25 gold. Yeah, just 25 gold, I guess. Yep. And you got the treasure chest. Let's just name it chest. And it's got everything set up for you. Great. Okay. Now, I'm not going to explain every event option. I'm not going to explain all of this because that would take a long time. I'll explain it as we need it. If you have any questions about anything, like I said, feel free to message me, leave a comment, whatever. I will answer that. Okay? Next. Let's explain this window. New event page, copy event page, paste it. Obviously delete, delete. Or you could even, like, if you have a bunch of crap, you just don't like the event page anymore, clear. Okay? So we're going to name this, I'm going to put this here, what happens when the game starts, auto run event. You don't have to do this, I'm just doing it. This is just whatever you want to name the event for later. Like, let's say, what situation would you use this? You can name your events, and there is event lookup. I'm just trying to remember how you do it. Well, either way, let's say you were doing a move event, and you wanted to know what event it was. You can make the door, the chest, the auto run event, move, whatever. That's why you label them. I just label them so I know. Okay. All right. Now switches. I'm going to try to explain this as easy as possible. These are kind of confusing to explain for me. With switches, let's say there's a bunch of ways to do what I'm about to show you. Let's set up an event first, okay? And then I'll explain that because that's probably what those will go into. We're going to make it to right when the game starts. We're going to wait before he talks about 60. That's about a second. And then he's going to pop up. We're going to get his face. Let's use his face right there. Okay, select his face. Batch entry I never use because I don't really know what that does completely, but if I figure out, I'll explain it. I'll try to figure out. Wow, I am finally home. Now this is obviously where the window will be positioned, middle, top, bottom. Situation I could be used for would be this. You can make it transparent and do this maybe for the game talking to you, telling you how to do something or something like that. Transparent means it won't have a window, it's just going to be back like that. It'll appear over the game tile. Dim, you'll see the background vary so slightly, like just colored. And if you just do the normal window, you got that. Okay, and this is preview, obviously, like I've been showing you. You can see the reason you use that is because these things try to mark your borders. This one, I think this border is for if there is a face, and this is for if there's not. Okay, so see we home, and you can see how it cuts off. It's just so you can preview beforehand, so you can make sure to go to the next line and type home, so it all fits in there. All right, let's get rid of that. All right, now let's do set move route, which is for moving, and we're gonna make him wait, then turn left, wait, turn right, wait, turn down, wait. Now when making movements, if you do this, it'll repeat. Okay? If you do this, that means if one of the movements isn't possible, he'll skip it. That's kind of good for if you have multiple events on a page and you gotta do something, I guess. Wait for move completion, you always want that on. This one we don't need because there's no way that could fail. This means it'll wait until it's done. If you don't have that on, the next event will happen without waiting for it. It'll just do it while something else is happening. Right? And then we're going to have him say, well, I better get started. Whoops. I know it fits, but just for tutorial's sake, we check. And now here's where switches would come in. Now you're probably wondering, if I did this and this auto ran. Oh, I should probably explain this. I get so worked up. Okay. This auto run. Let me explain the individual. Action button. That means if you're on the event or the event's in front of you and you were to hit enter, space, whatever, you're basically telling your character to analyze it, whatever, the event will happen. Okay, we don't want that because he can't reach this. We want this to happen automatically. Player touch. If the player touches the event, it will automatically go off. The event will occur. If the event touches the player, it will go off. That's more for if you're being chased, I guess. Auto run, it'll happen right when the map starts. Parallel process, it will happen if you're parallel to the event. Basically, if you're in this map, it's going to happen. That's usually something you want to do for like weather effects or something. Alright, auto run. Now, as long as auto run, just so you know, this will loop until there's a reason for it not to. There are a couple ways to do this. You could first of all do where is it? There's erase event somewhere here. Erase event. Now if you do that, when you come back to this map, it's going to do it again. This only erases it until you leave the map. When you come back, it's going to start again and then erase. Okay? So we don't want to do that necessarily. Now that can be used for simplified things later. The other way we can do this, we could do a switch. Right after that's done, control switch, intro, done. Doesn't matter what you name them, they're just switches. Okay, you turn it on or off. You could use batch for different things, but we're not going to use that for now. When that's on, you can set a new page. That's when you use this. Okay, this is how we're going to explain this. Now that that is done, as long as this switch is on, page 1 cannot happen. This is what's going to happen, nothing. If there's nothing here in this action button, nothing will occur. So pretty much what switches are used for, you could set it to where, like, if this switch is on, then here's what happens. If this switch is also on, here's what happens. If they're both on, here's what happens. It's just a way to make things better. I can go in more depth with it later, but yeah. We're not going to do that. There's a much easier way to do this. I wouldn't advise doing it. It took me a while to figure it out, but okay, what you want to use, you could also use variables, okay? I wouldn't advise this at all. Intro, done. Variables are for something completely different, but this is also a method of doing it. If variable intro done is 1 or above, and then you just tell it to set it to 1. We're not going to do that though. That's very bad. Never use variables for that situation. What we're going to use is a self switch. Okay, self switch A. Now what is a self switch? A self switch pertains only to that event. You can have infinite self switches, whereas these you're limited. If you want to see, 5,000 is as high as it can go. If you try to even go one higher, it's not possible. You can only have 5,000 switches. I mean, that's a lot. Same with variables. Self switches are pertaining to that event. Every event gets 4 self switches. Okay? So let's do that, and then let's set new page, self switch A is on. Good. Now this is what will happen. Since self switch A is on, that will never happen again. Now each event gets A, B, C, and D. So you get 4 self switches per event, which is good. This situation, we don't have to use one of our switches or one of our variables. Very easy to do. Now why would a switch, how could I also use that? Let's say you have this auto run event, you exit event, or you erase event, and then something else happens later on, and it gives you the switch to turn that on. Then you could do that, but that's just complicated. I would just advise using control self switches. I'm probably confused you by now with the whole other thing, but just use this. That will work. Okay? Now variables. What are these good for? Well, let me explain in easy terms. Variables, we're going to use them so I can explain it better later. Batch, we don't want to use. This, let's say we have a basic thing, gender. You want your people to respond to you based on your gender. Well, you can set gender. Now let's say if you're a boy, it's 1. If you're a girl, it's 2. How that would be used, I will explain much later, but pretty much what I'm getting at here, this is so you can label things in the game will react. Let's say if you did set gender, and in the introduction you tell it this. Well, now when you talk to somebody, you could do something like if variable gender is 1 or above. Okay, wait, we don't want that. So maybe you don't want to do it like that necessarily, but 1. So it's 1. They're gonna say, "Hey, dude." Now it's 2. "Hey, girl." It's just gonna be something like that, I guess. But we're not gonna mess with that. Okay, so I'll get more in depth with that later when we need it, but right now we don't. So we're gonna leave that alone. Okay. And that event is done. So there's some basic eventing for that. I will show you how all this works in a second. Let's make some more things to make this world lively. I need to explain this. Self switch we got into. Item. This means if this item exists. Pretty much if you walk up, let's say they tell you, you get an event, someone tells you, "Hey, go to the market and buy me some corn." Okay, then they sit there. You gotta go all the way to town. You go to town, they're not there. But then you go buy the corn, you leave the shop. Let's say this is corn. Corn is in your inventory. Well, then she's gonna be here. He's gonna be here. Whatever. He'll be there only if corn is in your inventory. Okay? So pretty much it's just like another way of doing that. This event will only appear if the item is with you. Same for if you have a person with you, another person will appear, something will happen here, whatever. If this person is with you and you step on this event, something's going to happen. If they're not, it won't. Things like that, okay? We'll use those later. Autonomous movement, this is only for, I mean, it does work for non-events. I wouldn't advise it unless you have a purpose. But if you have a person, like we're going to use an animal in this case because we want to have animals here. We have some chickens. Okay, some chickens. So first of all, let's get some chickens. We're just going to name it chicken. And movement fixed means they're going to move based on these. So they're not really going to do anything. Okay, it's kind of stuck there. Setting in place. As you see, that does that. Random, they're going to randomly move them out, which is what we're going to use in this situation. Approach, they'll approach the player. And custom, you can set your own movement, okay? And that's where repeat action comes in. We're not going to do that, we're going to do random because they're chickens. Speed, how fast they're going to move. For instance, we want chickens. If you put this at highest, it'll continuously move at the speed. Like it won't ever stop. If it's set to speed slow, it'll be like, that's slow, it's going to continue moving. It's fast, it's going to fly over the place. If you put it at like normal, it's going to like move, wait, you know, okay. Priority, if it's below characters, you can step on it. If it's same as you, you'll run into it and you can't pass it. If it's over you, you'll walk under it, or it can fly over you rather, even. So we want that. Okay, we've got some chicken. Let's put another chicken here and here. And let's also do the same for some other things. Let's get a butterfly. Let's get some butterflies that fly around. Butterfly. And we're going to make their movement random, but we don't want them to stop. Because it'd be weird to have a butterfly to say. Actually, yeah, let's make them stop. If you're going to do this, you don't want it to look weird when they just freeze. Option, walk animation. If you turn that off, they're not going to move. Like, these animations won't play through. It'll look like that when it moves the whole time. Or it'll look like it's basic, one turn. It won't actually have any animation, it'll look really weird. So you always want that on most generally, unless you got a reason, like a statue, I guess. Stepping animation, when it's standing still, it'll continuously loop its animation, flapping its wings in place. Okay, so we want that for this situation. Direction fix means it cannot turn like it's stuck facing up right now. It can't turn down, left, right. It'll be stuck facing that no matter what you tell it. Even if you tell it turn down, it's going to look like that. Through means it can go through anything. See, makes it possible to sneak through an impassable tile or character. If normally it wouldn't be able to, it would. Okay, so we want that. Random, normal, whatever. And then let's scatter these about for environment. Okay. Yes. There we go. Scattered environment. Alright. Now we got that done. Our environment is set up. Now I'm going to jump into the game itself. So I will see you there. Alright, I'm back. This is loud, I know. New game. Okay, here we are. Auto run. Wow, I am finally home. He looks around. Well, I better get started. And then you're able to do stuff, okay? We can't dash on this map. As you can see, our chickens are moving about, just kind of walking around. Butterflies, they fly around and flap their wings. Yeah, it's all good. The boat can be used. Alright. The chest. 25 gold were found. Good. Stuck open. Nothing more can happen. The door will animate, but it won't take us anywhere. Oh, well, yeah, I guess it will. Now, just so you know, I'm stuck here. If you're ever using the editor to play your game, you can hold down control and use editor tools to pass through anything for purposes of debug, I guess. Oh yeah, we should have set these butterflies to fly above us so we wouldn't run into them like that, but we didn't, so. Anyway, that's our game so far. That is how the eventing works. Okay, the door is glitched out because it's not supposed to be there now. Event's been used. It'll be there if we were to have gone inside though. Anyway, back to the editor. So you've seen, whoops, sorry, when I hit the record button it opens that. You've seen how the game works and operates with our events. Let's modify these really quick. I'm going to delete them all since they're all the same and replace them so I don't have to individually edit them all. So let's make that above character. So now they will fly above us. Make things better. Just randomly scatter them again, doesn't matter. Okay. Now the more events you have on one screen can lag some computers, just be aware of that. Okay. We got our eventing basics. Now, more advanced, when we get into advanced eventing, that's when I'm going to explain to you these individual things. Like, I will explain these eventually, I guess, now that I've decided it's probably best. But for now, I've just showed you some basic eventing. Because we're just getting into RPG Maker. This is all coming later, the more advanced stuff, what all this does. So we'll explain that in time. Bear with me. Now that I've gotten the eventing out of the way, I'm going to cut the video again and jump us into the next part, which will be database. I will see you there.